Hello guys, so in this tutorial what we're going to do is to create a fire animation using Opentoonz. To do that, let's create a new project. So I'm just going to give that project a name. Let's just call that fire underscore tutorial. And once we have that, we're going to click on OK. And what we want to do next is to create a new scene. So let's hit on the new scene and make sure we give that scene a name. So I'll just call that fire underscore 01 underscore SC. Excuse me. So I'll now hit on create scene, and this will give us our scene. So what I'd like to do first is to create a layer to hold a reference to any background elements we're going to create. And to do that, I'll just hit this new raster level, and we can do the same thing above up here and go to new, and we can do a new raster level, and then we'll just hit OK. Now we have a new raster level called column 1. I'll just double click on this and I'll call this my background. And basically this is going to be the background element I'm going to repeat, so that when I'm doing the animation it's going to remain constant, and then our drawing is going to be on a new raster level above this. So for this background level, let's go ahead and hit on raster. And it should open up a nice menu with some brushes. I like using Sketch A, but I've recently found another nice one. It's the chalk. Where are you hiding? Okay, I can't find it anymore. But I believe it's down here. It's actually a chalk brush. This is it. Yeah, this one. Yeah, there you are. And then when we switch to the brush, we can actually use that. Now that's very thick for now. Let me just drag this, and yeah, I kind of like how this is. So yeah, this is the brush I'm going to use. So I'll just select the eraser and make it extremely large and just clean up everything right here. So first thing I'll do is sketch the background, and this will be just a nice ground level. So I'll just draw a line like so to represent that ground level, and I hope you can just see this. And what I'll also do is just add a little bit of wood just in down here, add another one here, and I'll just add another piece of wood right here, and then we add another one looking at us, and basically that's it. That's just our little background sketch. And for wood, I wanted to have a nice little wood texture around. And basically that's it. Nothing super complicated, nothing complex for this setting. So that's what we're going to use for this. So now that we've had that and created that background sketch, what we're going to do is to add a new level above this level, and that level is going to be the level that will contain our sketch. So first, let's lock this by hitting the padlock icon right here. And what we will do next is go to our level above and go to new. Let's create a new raster level. And that's going to be level B. It's going to be called column 2. I'll just double click this and I'll call it the fire underscore sketch. And this is where I'm going to start sketching my fire shape. So how do we sketch fire? So basically I did a little bit of research and I found a very nice explanation on Pinterest, and the gentleman said that you can imagine a ball traveling within a shape. So if I have a nice rectangle, right, it's like so, a very slim rectangle, and I have this ball, and this ball is quite larger than this rectangle. If I'm to place this ball say around here, what it's going to do is to push this edge. So we're going to have something that looks like this, right? Because the ball is here. And if this is the base and the ball is here, here is going to remain intact. But as this ball begins to travel up, I'm going to have another shape that looks quite like this. But then the other part is going to be slim because that ball is now here. And then he said this ball is going to be shrinking. So by the time this ball becomes small, like so, while this is our base shape, If the ball is here, it's going to look like this because the ball is now here, and then the body is going to remain intact like so. So by the time you have permutations of imagining a ball traveling from here, and it's now here, it's now here, you're going to have a series of, say, so you have a large one, a big one, and a small one that's going to be affecting how the shape is going to look like. So all that is theory. Let's go ahead and put that, keeping that in mind, let's put it into practice. And remember, we're on our fire sketch layer, so if I clear this, we're not going to have any problems. So on frame 1, what I want to do is to start, creating my sketches, and I'm going to go back to my background layer and create a nice little X here, because this is where I want my fire base to always, I'm going to be using this as a base because I don't want my fire to be dangling and moving left and right. So I'll just lock this, and I'll go back to the fire sketch layer and then create my first frame. I'm also going to be animating on 2s, basically, which means I'm going to skip 1. So if I create my drawing on frame 1, I'll skip to frame 3. If I want, I can do them straight ahead and then change this to 2s like so. So it means it's going to skip the next frame, but I'll just set this back to 1s for a basic drawing. So let's begin. So I'll just start creating a basic sketch, nothing too. So and he also said, think about a scimitar. Like if you've played Aladdin, a scimitar is like an Arabian weapon that looks somewhat like this. All right. So if you think about a scimitar, you'd always think about your fire, and then you can eat away some of these edges like so. So basically I have something that looks quite like that. That's a good fire shape, and it's going to be alternating. So if it starts like this, later on it'll be like this, like this, like this, just like a rope. And then you have another rope, then you have another rope, then you have another rope, have another rope, and they're actually moving at different intervals. So that's one way you can always think about that. So let's go ahead and clean this. If not, we're going to have our frame moving with a lot of weird stuff in it. So I'm going to jump to frame 3, and I'll turn on the onion skin. Since I'm going to be working with intervals, I'll just set it to 3, and that's how the onion skin works. So for frame 2, I'll just have a slight variation of that. So on 3 rather, I'll switch over to my brush, and we have a problem here. I can't see the background when I'm on frame 3, and that's because I'm not holding the drawing. So I'm going to have virtually about 14 frames. So I'll hold this drawing for 14 frames, and to do that, I'll just go ahead to the animation. Right here, we can see our fire sketch layer, but if you go back to our drawing, it's locked. So I'll unlock our background, go to animation, make sure we are on the background, click on the first one, and I'll drag this down to 14. If we go back to our drawing, we can actually see what's happening is that 14, we're actually holding our background drawing to 14. So that means if I drag this, I'm still going to be seeing the content on my layer, right? So I'm still seeing the background. So I'll go ahead and lock this so I don't accidentally draw on this, and then let's go to frame 3. So but because we are on, let's see, if we click on 3, we can actually see our frame 1 drawing. That means this onion skin is working. So let's just hit this and create our second drawing. So for that, I'm going to just draw the base and then slightly modify this and then make it slightly smaller because that imaginary ball is traveling. So I'll go to frame 5 right now, and on frame 5 I'll just do another scimitar that has been distorted like so. Think about a scimitar, think about a candle like so. Oops. So I'm going to go to 7, and then I'll make this base super small and then begin to go like that, and think about that distorted weapon like so. I'm going to go to 9 now, and then if you notice the way fire goes, sometimes it will really shrink and then disappear at the top. So that's what we're trying to create right now, that shrinking part where it just goes, and then we just have a very thin section here because we're indicating that oops, I think that was not intended. That was not intended. So 5, 7. I'll just undo that. Okay, I think I made an error here, so I'll just redo everything I did. Edit, redo. My Control Y. Okay, good. I think we're back in business now. So we have 1, 3, 5, 7. Good. So this is where we made the mistake on frame 9. So I'll just get rid of this onion skin so I can easily clean this and get rid of that. So I'll make this slightly small, like so, and then go over here and just clean this edge because I don't like that weird thing that's happening right there. Switch over to my chalk brush, and I'll just try to connect this to the bottom, and that's it. Nothing too serious there. So I'm on frame 11 now. So this is actually gone up. So it's this section right here. I want to just make it slightly slim. So what I'll do is just create a nice curve like so, and then have that bottom, and then create this slim edge and just link this up. So I'm going to 13, and on 13 what I want to do is to kind of like make this breakout here, to begin to break out in this section. So I'll just create this like so, and then create a nice shape like that. So I'm going to 15. So I haven't extended this beyond 15, but we can test this out and see how our fire is actually looking like. So not really bad. So I'll just drag this to let's unlock this and then go back to our animation. Let's click on 14 and drag this to say 20, and go back to our drawing, and then we'll lock this layer and go back to our sketch. So we're on 12, 9, 11, 13. So on 15 I'll just start to make this disappear. So I'll just draw this and make it super small on this edge, and then have another section on top like so, and I'll go to 17, and let's draw this and make this quite small. Add a little spot here, and then at the top let's make this shape quite small. I'm telling you, that's a very weird fire. And then on 19, let's make this even smaller, and let's make this shape slightly smallish like so, and add another one, and then let's go to 21, and I'll just make this super small, and then add a little bit of flames that have died out over here. And let's unlock our background layer, go back to our animation because we've jumped to 21, and then go back to our drawing. And what we can do is to set this to, yeah, this is 21, and we can actually see what we have here. We can scrub through real quick and see all this. So if I hit play, we can actually see, and hit the loop, we can actually see our fire looping, which is nice. We can even turn this down to say let's say 12 frames per second. I believe it's more, you know, kind of calm at 12 frames per second. And because we're using this, let's zoom in a bit. I have to stop this and try to zoom in. You can actually see it's a bit chalky and textury. So one way to have a nice clean line is to use another tool. So here what we're going to do is to go over here to create a new Toonz raster level. Let's use a let's go to levels and let's create a new vector level, and let's hit OK. And I'm going to call this clean. And with clean selected, we can go to our vector brushes and select any nice vector brush. We can test it and see how that looks like. So yeah, this seems to be a very clean vector brush, like so. So what we can now do is to go back to each of our layers, and for our fire sketch I could just dial down the opacity and then go back to our clean sketch and lock our fire sketch and background layer, so we're left with the clean layer. And what I'll do now is to just I think I'm gonna drag this down a little bit too, and then start gradually and nicely making sure that I have a nice vector base for this design, like so. And then I'll go to tree, and I'll get rid of this and this, and then begin to follow up on this design, like so. So that's one way we can follow up and see that we actually have that clean lines, by just following up each of these designs and then creating the artwork again for each of our drawings. So yeah, so that's how you can create a nice little basic animation using Opentoonz. So I'll go back to my fire sketch and set the opacity to 100 so we can see what we're working with. Alright, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next quick tutorial.